Coming up, we have a keynote speech from someone who represents tourism in a country that had very big plans for investment and expansion just before the pandemic, and by all accounts, continues to do so. That is Mahmoud Abdulhadi, Deputy of Investments, Ministry of Tourism, and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Good morning or good afternoon, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like, first of all, to thank the ITIC for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. If I may start with a very important guiding principle in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia today, which is the Vision 2030, which is our strategy, national strategy for the whole country, taking us to 2030. The vision is built on three pillars: building a vibrant society, a thriving economy, and an ambitious nation. Tourism is a very important part of the Vision 2030 strategy, and the sector, if you like, as alluded to previously, is relatively underinvested in the kingdom. And is not something that was on anybody's radar up until the vision came into fruition or came into being. I think what's changed today is we have a target within the three pillars I mentioned to utilize or build on the innate hospitality that we as Saudi Arabia and the Arab nation in general have. And those attributes, if you like, lend themselves very well to tourism. We are a very large country. We are a country with a very diverse geography. We have deserts, we have mountains, we have shorelines, very long, beautiful, untouched shorelines. And we have a very diverse mix of people. We have been hosting, if you like, visitors to our land for centuries, whether they be the historic trade caravans or whether they be the pilgrims that have been coming to Mecca and Medina and the holy sites. So it is not completely alien to us. It is not completely new. But I think the difference this time, if you like, is our ambition to become a top 5 destination globally for tourism, driven by, if you like, that desire to make sure that we are building on the three pillars that I mentioned, which I will recap are the vibrant society, the thriving economy, and an ambitious nation. I think our tourism strategy for 2030 is really built on three key targets. One is for tourism to become 10% contributor to our GDP, to create 1 million additional jobs in the kingdom, and to generate 100 million visits to the kingdom. This is, of course, under the umbrella of becoming a top 5 destination globally. How are we doing this? We are building or working to build an ecosystem within the kingdom that is one, attractive to investors, and two, attractive to visitors in the kingdom or to the kingdom. I think our main tenets, like I mentioned, are the three targets: the 10%, the 100 million visits, and the 1 million jobs. We can only do this by creating an environment which is conducive to investing in the private sector or through the private sector. We know that tourism can only be built on or through private sector efforts, and the most successful tourism models in the world are all built through private sector efforts. It is our job at the ministry and our government ecosystem is to make sure that we have created the right environment for that. And the steps that we're taking are to make sure that we have the right regulation, we have the right incentives, that we are creating an inclusive work environment for people in the sector, and to make sure that we are building these for the long term, and these are not just short-term strategies or initiatives that we are doing, but we are very, very serious and very conscious about making sure that we have the right building blocks in place to make sure that we are augmenting the strength of the economy. I think another point I wanted to talk about is obviously the effect of the pandemic, and as with every nation that had tourism aspirations or a tourism business, that's something that has been negatively impacted. However, we in the Kingdom have taken a very deliberate step to make sure that we are promoting domestic tourism in the Kingdom. So, if you like, despite the restrictions imposed on us by the pandemic, we launched a tourism drive for the summer, which was extremely successful. In some areas we had occupancy levels of over 80%. We had a major contribution to GDP, which was, I think, 30% up year on year from those locations, and it was a major success. And more importantly, it was successful without having any negative impact on if you like, pandemic situation. Going back to our national tourism strategy, and I mentioned our aim there, and it is sort of under the umbrella of the Vision 2030, is that our aim is to diversify the economy and to create an inclusive employment environment that is conducive to tourism development. The strategy focuses on making sure that we are enhancing and developing the sites that we have. And this is something I think that maybe generally is not necessarily known, but I alluded to the Kingdom being a very large country with a lot of potential. We have 38 destinations across the Kingdom that are extremely suitable for tourism development. And these could be sun and sand, these could be historical destinations. Some of these are archaeological destinations. Some of them are agritourism. It is a very, very broad mix, and I think the size and the diversity in the Kingdom lends to Saudi Arabia being an important destination globally. Speaking of investment itself, I think a lot of what we are... So Saudi Arabia is, in essence, a greenfield tourism destination for the type of tourism that excludes religious tourism. Today, I think that presents an exciting opportunity for businesses both domestically and internationally to promote foreign direct investment into the Kingdom. And the opportunities exist across the value chain. So whether you are talking about activating a specific site or you are building large resorts and hotels, the value chain is there and it is available to be invested in. Some of the things that we've focused on to make sure that we are building the ecosystem in the right way is we are, again, focusing on private sector contribution. Once the restrictions, if you like, and travel restrictions start to ease, we will also be looking to promote FDI into the sector. And to aid that, we've also started working with our colleagues across other ministries, such as under the Invest Saudi banner and other business, if you like, attraction activities. We've also set up a tourism development fund in order to ensure that the funding or the right funding structures are available to the private sector players willing to come into the sector, to the tourism or set up tourism businesses are there. And it's also to ensure, if you like, that we have the right quality of offering that we aspire to as part of our vision. I think the pandemic has shown that the importance of domestic tourism to a market like Saudi Arabia. Before the pandemic, we had launched the e-visa scheme, which in my view was an amazing success, because in the 4 months that it was operating, we had over 500,000 tourist visas for Saudi Arabia, which was something that was unheard of. And these were people that were, if you like, coming in from the UK, Malaysia, US, China, Canada, and these were the top applicants for these visas. And a lot of these people were coming in to discover Saudi Arabia. And this is part of what we are doing today in terms of making sure that we are attracting the right people who can, hopefully relay the right message about Saudi Arabia and who we really are and what it is we really stand for as a nation, as a country, and two, from a slightly selfish perspective, making sure that we are positively contributing to the ecosystem and the economy. I think to wrap up, I think Saudi Arabia is or presents a huge opportunity for the industry to invest in. I think Saudi Arabia is a country that is, certainly going to be on the world tourism map going forward. And I think all of our efforts that we are currently working on, be they to make sure that regulations are in the right, shall we say, frame of mind, to make sure that investors are assisted and enabled to invest, or just making sure that we have, the right activities and the right activations for our very valuable sites, all works towards meeting the target of becoming a top 5 destination globally for tourism by 2030. Thank you again for your time, and I think that's the end of my time with you today.